Hi Digestives, welcome to Crimes Digested, where we try to digest senseless crimes. Today's story is going to be about Kayla Kelley. She is a 33-year-old woman who was born and raised in Alabama. She had a very normal life. She was brought up with a lot of siblings, and she is someone that is very passionate about sports. I feel like a lot of people say that they love sports, but they usually don't, especially girls. But this girl was very like into sports, like football, basketball. And her family describe her as someone who's just the sweetest person you'll probably ever meet. She's loved, she's adored by everybody around her. Now, just like any normal person, Kelley had struggles. I think that most young ladies growing up are going to face certain struggles, but she didn't let that keep her from reaching her goals. She wanted to graduate and she wanted to find a good job. She wanted to be what most people would describe as an independent woman, and she did. She succeeded. She graduates and she finds a job at Raytheon, and she was really good at her job. Her coworkers loved her. Once she started working and once she felt established professionally, she was getting up in age, and she decided that now it's time for her to reach other milestones. I think that society has this expectation of women, especially once you reach certain stage in life, the biological clock starts ticking, and everybody around you starts questioning why you're not settling down, why you're not finding someone to, start a family with. And I feel like she started to feel this sense of, I want more than just work. I want to find someone to make a home with. So she decided the best way for her, for a busy person, was to start dating online. She creates an online profile, and as someone who also uses online dating platforms as my primary dating source, I can kind of relate to her a little bit, because being online and looking to find someone to date, it's almost impossible. It's like trying to swim in a I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so much thrown at you that sometimes you start to question if there is someone out there that is going to be like a match for you, someone that's going to have the same values, share the same core understanding and principles of life. So when she finally met someone, she was ecstatic because Kelley and Kevin Brown, they matched and they hit it off right away. She felt like they understood each other, and their relationship was really, really good. They were very solid for about like a year and some change. Everything was going perfect until she finds out that the man she had given her heart to, the man that she has been laying down next to at night, the man that she has been like giving access of her body to, was not who he said he was. Because this man was not Kevin Brown. His name was in fact Oscar Ferguson. And not only that, Oscar is married already. So her dreams of meeting someone and settling down, getting married, not only are they shattered, but she realized this man has been unfaithful. This man has been just stringing her along, playing with her, dragging her behind him, and she doesn't even know what he wants. Because not only is he married and has been living under this falsehood of Kevin Brown, he also has multiple lovers. And when I say multiple, I mean multiple lovers, okay? So she decided, you know what? I'm not gonna say anything for now, but I'm gonna let my friends know what I found out. She was every girl, she's like, I'm telling my girls first. She calls up one of her friends, and this was in an arrest affidavit. The friend states that Kelley told her that she was going to blackmail Oscar Ferguson for lying to her about being married. And honestly, I'm under the strong belief that when she said she was gonna blackmail him, it wasn't for money. This is just my opinion, okay? But I think that her blackmail is either you tell your wife and you break up with your wife, or we break up. I feel like it's probably an ultimatum she's trying to give him, you know, like either you leave her for me or I'm leaving. And I don't think that for someone like Ferguson, someone with such a high ego, someone who seems to put his whole pride in his sense of conquering all these women, I don't think that was gonna go off very well for her. So let me introduce you to Ocastor Ferguson. I feel like I was calling him Oscar this whole time. I am so sorry. I was reading a book with a male lead that was called Oscar, so I think I mixed up their names. But Ocastor Ferguson is a 33-year-old native Jamaican, and he's a player. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Okay, that man is a player. Okay, he was in Jamaica in 2010 when he met his wife, Latrina. And Latrina Chandler is one of those women that I pray that God does not ever bring this kind of love in my life. But she's the kind of person that loves her husband so much that no matter what he does, she's just like, my man, my man, my man. I'm going down with him. I don't care what nobody else says. So they met in 2010. They get married in 2018. And off the bat, like right off the jump, she said she knew something was off. Okay. It's very suspicious because he was talking to all these women and she was starting to feel like this man is stepping out on her, you know? So she knows of his indiscretions. She had no doubt. According to her, he would bring women to their home and she would have women knocking at their door whenever he's not around. And it got so bad to the point where she would literally make him sleep on the couch or sometimes make him go sleep in his car. That's how badly she knew of his affairs and knew of what he was doing out there. But to her, she's the first wife, you know, she's the first lady, she's the lady of the house. And so she felt like a little correction here, a little discipline there, it should suffice, you know. So I don't think it comes as any surprise to her when 2023 comes around and her husband gets arrested. So let me tell you what happened before he gets arrested. This story is crazy, y'all. Listen, okay, listen, Linda, listen. 10th January of 2023, Kelley and Ocastor are together, and it's around 2:29 a.m. She's sending these text messages on his phone. Okay, she sends one of the text messages was like shown in court, and it reads something like this: I'm his girlfriend, he has a wife as well, and I'm as shocked as you. So she sends texts like that, and I don't think Ocastor was happy about it because she was exposing him. She was telling everybody that's on his roster, she was basically annihilating this man's roster. And no man likes a woman that is naggy and difficult. Okay, so he's pissed off. That was the last time anyone heard anything from her, because the very next day her co-workers at Raytheon, they called the police because they haven't heard from her in days, and they're concerned because that's not like her. She's not the kind of person that just misses work and not have any explanation, and they're trying to call her, she's not answering her phone. That's definitely not like her. She's a very responsible lady. She does not play about her, like her responsibilities. Like, she's a very, very responsible person. So they called the police, and not long after that, the police, literally like a couple days after that, the police find her car parked in Frisco, like on this dead-end road, burnt to crisp. Like, you can't even recognize that was her car. The inside was just completely just burnt to crisp. And they're starting to get concerned because nobody has heard from her, and her car is now burnt to crisp in this bump in nowhere, and she's nowhere to be seen. So they start investigating what happened. They start trying to track her. And first, immediately, they're like, let's see if we can track her phone. You know, see if we can get her phone connected to a tower or something. But that's when they started to notice something very interesting, because her phone data and her car were caught, like pinned to a tower with a surveillance camera that caught her car driving to a Walmart. And then the person gets out of the car, walks into the Walmart, buys a gas can, gets back in the car, drives to a gas station, fills the can with gas, and then buys a lighter and drives off to work. Now we're in Grand Prairie where Ocastor works, and the police are watching him in the break room. He goes on a break. He has 3 phones in his hands in the break room, and one of them is clearly her phone, Kelley's phone. 2 of them are his. I'm assuming one is for the club and one is for the main wife, you know. So a lot of people were under the assumption that maybe the wife is the reason why she disappeared, just because the wife's car, according to some articles online, apparently the wife's car went missing, but then the car was spotted in front of Kelley's house or home, and a lot of people think that he or she had a hand in what happened to her. But the detectives said that she was not even in the same city when all of this happened. She was on a flight out of DFW International Airport, so she was nowhere around the area, like the city where everything happened. But let's get back to the story, okay? This man had those 3 phones in his hand, and the whole time, they matched the time of the surveillance camera videos with the records on Kelley's phone, and he sent her text messages. He seems concerned. Why isn't she bringing him his lunch? Why isn't she answering her phone? He's literally messaging her while holding her phone in his hand. It reminds me of those videos where people would take their friend's phone, take a picture of it on a kitchen counter or something, and then the friend would take their phone and leave, but then they'll send a message and be like, hey, you forgot your phone here. And then they're like, oh my God, how did I forget my phone? And you're like, are you dumb or are you dumb? What are you responding to the message on, if not your phone? But that's the vibe you get watching this man, because he's messaging her on her phone and he's looking at her phone as the text messages were coming through, but he's asking her, where is she? I feel like we should be the one asking him, where is she? Because why do you have her phone, sir? And why is her car parked outside of your work? His employers made it very clear during the investigation, this man was in a rush to get out of work, okay? Because the moment the clock struck, he was out of there. He dipped so quickly, they had whiplash. They were wondering what's going on. He left without even clocking out of work. He runs to Kelley's SUV, jumps in, drives off into the woods, literally half a mile from his house. Probably a 10-minute drive from his home. Detectives have these phone records showing that he stopped in these woods and he was still texting Kelley. So I don't know what he thought was gonna happen, but I don't know. Some criminals are kind of idiotic, a little dumb, a little challenged mentally, just a little disabled in the head, because I cannot imagine committing a crime, holding all the evidence in hand, knowing that those evidence can track me, and still have the audacity to stand there over the dead body of his partner and still texting her, baby, where you at? Sends the text message, buries her in this shallow grave, covers her up, drives off into Frisco, lights her car on fire, and then creates a Lyft account, requests a drive, and gets picked up and goes back home like nothing ever happened. Literally a week after her disappearance, after she was reported missing, the police arrest him. They're like, sir, we're gonna have to take you in for the murder of your ex-girlfriend or your girlfriend. At this point, who even knows? We're gonna have to take you in. Towards the end of January, he gets arrested. He gets taken into police custody. They start their investigation, and they just follow his trail. Like he left them a breadcrumb of evidence to just follow. They follow, they find the body, and they're ready for trial. They're ready to take him to court. So now a year later, because they arrest him in January and he goes to court in May of 2024, and his whole defense is kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, his defense is very weird because this man, he had many stories. But let's start with the very first one of it wasn't me. He said it wasn't me. Let me tell y'all a story, okay? He had a story. He said, Judge, let me tell you, and jurors too, let me tell y'all exactly what happened, okay? So just weeks, days actually, before I was arrested, I was actually kidnapped, okay? These three men kidnapped me, and they seemed to be very upset that I was dating Kelley. They were angry, especially one of them. He was angry. He was just being belligerent and blowing up out of like proportion and telling me that I had no right to date Kelley. And I think that they may have been the ones that killed her, you know? And his wife corroborates this story too. She's like, yes, he did get kidnapped. I even told this to investigators when they came and tried to arrest him and they came to question me about his whereabouts. I told them my husband was kidnapped and they didn't even look into it. I felt like she was trying to play that card of no one believes black men. But the thing is, there was so many questions about that. First of all, if someone gets kidnapped, there would be some evidence of them being kidnapped. For starters, did you call the police? If you didn't call the police, why didn't you call the police for your husband's kidnapping? And if you did not call the police for whatever reason, was there a ransom request? And if there wasn't a ransom request, how did he get away? Those questions are not being answered. And so detectives were like, that story makes no sense. We didn't see that there was any validity behind the story. So yeah, no, we didn't believe her, obviously. And now he says, okay, fine. If you guys don't want to believe that I was kidnapped, that's fine. I'm not going to stand as a witness anymore. He hesitantly refused to stand as a witness after that. But then his defense attorney came up and he says that, you know, this whole trial is messed up. Because everything that happened should have been judged in Tarrant County. You know? It doesn't make any sense for him to be in court in Collin County when he should have been judged in Tarrant County. And also, there was no physical evidence to tie his client to this death. You know, they don't have any real physical evidence. All they have is circumstantial, and anybody could have been pinned to her death if they really tried. His client is innocent just due to the fact that he's being tried in the wrong court. That makes no sense. What do you mean? What do you mean? What does it matter where the client was tried? As long as he was given a fair trial, I don't think it should matter. Leave in the comments if it matters, if you are savvy with the law. I don't know anything about the law, okay? All I know is he's being tried for the death of someone, and he's saying a county over, automatically this is a mistrial. That's not, I don't know if I want to say that's not how it works, but I feel like that's not how it works. But, and also the fact that he says there was no evidence to tie his client down to this murder, the defense attorney, or not defense attorney, the prosecutor side came up and they're like, actually, there's plenty of evidence to tie him to this crime. Because for one thing, he had her phone when she shouldn't be having her phone. And without following him, without following every little breadcrumb that he left like a man lost in a cave, without following that trail, they would never have found her body. No one would assume that her body would be all the way in Grand Prairie when her car was found all the way in Frisco. And not that anybody needed her to express this, but she explained to the jurors it's very obvious why he did this. He killed her because she exposed who he was. This man is a liar, has always been a liar, and he will always continue to lie. And it is up to the jurors now to decide if he is to go on lying or if he is to pay for the crime that he committed. I think this is the first case that I read on where the verdict, or not verdict, but rather the jurors, like, deliberation was literally an hour. Like an hour and some change. They went in, an hour later they came out and they're like, we have an answer for you, judge. And the judge said that she was gonna give them a recess. They go on a lunch break. They come back an hour later. The whole thing was like 2 hours, and they sentenced him to life in prison. It doesn't seem like he has any possibility of parole either. So he's gonna be locked up for the rest of his life. Her family felt like justice was served. I mean, it's not gonna bring back their sister, their friend, their daughter. It's not gonna bring her back, but at least they'll have the, I don't know, like the peace of mind and heart that she's not dead in vain, and he's caught and he's gonna be serving and paying for all the things that he did, right? But a lot of people online initially, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people were saying that she was in the wrong for getting with a married man, but she didn't know. That's my thing. Like, if someone knows that someone is in a relationship and gets with them anyways, I would not wish death on you, but I hope that whatever comes to you karma wise, right? Never death though. Never, ever, ever death. However, she had no idea. This girl was laying with this man who she really thought was going to be her, like, her soulmate, her other half, the Adam to her Eve. And he turned out to be the most disgusting human being you could possibly imagine on all of planet Earth. And then, you know what pissed me off? During the court session, his lawyer, his defense attorney, tried to make it seem like she died because, so the medical examiner said that she died from asphyxia or choking, right? Suffocation. And his defense attorney tried to make it seem like she was actually deviant and she was being choked during, like, you know, pleasure, and she died from it. And he asked the medical examiner if it's possible that her death could have been caused by, like, what's the word? Something erotic asphyxia or something like that. And the examiner was like, yeah, sure, you can categorize it as such, but that couldn't be possible in this situation because she had the way that her wounds were on her neck. It's possible, but it's unlikely. So, like, no, we're not gonna say anything bad about the dead. We're not gonna victim blame, you know. But yeah, that's the story of Kayla, Kelley, and Ocastor Ferguson, who is also known as Kevin Brown. Y'all, be careful out there, okay? At this point, I don't even know what we're supposed to do. People, you can't even, like, okay, so I'm a recluse, okay? I'm a hermit. I'm always home. I don't go out. I need to go out more. I'm gonna try this year to go out more often, but I don't go out. The only way I meet people, I even made a couple friends on Bumble BFF. Like, I think that it's very difficult to express when you're someone that has no time, A, or you're just a little bit more introverted, B, or you just prefer not to go out, which I fall in that category more than anything. You tend to want to use dating apps to meet people. That's the number one way of meeting people. So if you can't even use that, or you can even trust someone that you've been dating for a year. Y'all, from 2022 to 2023, and this man like kills her just to hide the fact that she found out he was stepping out on his wife and her. You guys, what are we supposed to do? I need y'all to leave in the comments if y'all date online or not. If you don't, where do you go to find people? And if you're in a relationship, I need you to let me know if your partner has a brother or something. They have to be around my age though. So, but yes, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this case. It's wild. He killed her for exposing him. Like, how big is your ego, sir? Let me stop before somebody come and find me too. But yes, leave in the comments what your thoughts are on this case. I also heard like someone say that she should have just blocked him and stopped talking to him. He knows where she lives. Okay, he knew where she lived. If she blocked him, he's gonna come and try to see why she's blocking him. And then what is she supposed to say? Oh, I blocked you because I found out you was cheating on me, or what? You know? But leave in the comments if y'all think that she should have done something differently. We're not victim blaming here though. I just want to like share ideas for people that may end up being in these situations, or maybe they're already in these situations. Let's leave in the comments ways to protect yourself first and foremost, and protect those who are around you, because when something like this happens, the people around are the ones that suffer, if not the most, because once you're dead. Granted, the torture before the death is painful, but once you're dead, you're asleep. But the people that are left behind still living, they're the ones that are in constant pain and are constantly reminded of the things that could have been or should have been. So I want you to leave in the comments what your thoughts are on this case, and I hope you guys take care of yourselves, take precautions out there. Make sure if you start dating someone, you meet everybody they know. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. Go to their home often, frequently, okay? And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Mwah.